Welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast, episode number 14, Remembering What It Was Like. So, when the iPhone came out, it was 2007. It was a time when I was still on Sprint. I was still a guy that didn't really use smartphones, didn't really use anything more advanced than your typical, you call somebody and answer the phone, and that's all you did. I was actually someone that didn't even text that much because it was simply too hard to do. And when the iPhone was announced, I was kind of unsure about it. I knew it was going to be great. I knew it was going to be pretty amazing. But from the videos and from the presentation I saw on stage, from that keynote, I was still unsure. I was still unsure, is this going to be a device that I'll have one day? Is this going to be a device that will change my life the way it has? I was still unsure. Going into the Apple Store when it came out, I still did not think I would be buying one. I still did not think that I would own one, at least the first generation. I was still unsure. And I was unsure because it was through the videos that I saw all of this. It was through the pictures I saw all of this. It was not through actual interaction with the device. It was all through reviews. It was all through first impressions from people that actually held the device, actually touched it. And from those impressions, and from the impressions I got from the keynote and from videos, I was not sold on it. I was not sure I was going to buy it. And the time came when the iPhone was released, and a few weeks after it was released, I went to an Apple store and really started to see what it was all about. I spent a good 30, 40 minutes in the Apple store simply playing with the first iPhone, simply interacting with the device and doing all those things that you could do with the first generation iPhone. And I was blown away. It was nothing like the videos would have you think. There's a big difference that just didn't come across from the stage, from holding the device and interacting with it, than simply seeing the videos. There was a huge difference. I was not sold on it by the videos. I was not sold on it by those other things. It was actually getting your hands on it and interacting with it that sold me on it. So within a couple days, I had actually purchased the iPhone at its original $600 value, which is kind of crazy because you can get an iPad for $600 now. You can get an iPad for $500 now. So the initial iPhone came out at a price point of $500 for 4 gigabytes or an 8 gigabyte iPhone for $600. Now you can get an iPad 16 gigabytes at $500. So when it initially came out, I did not think I'd be buying one simply because the price point was just ridiculously high, and I did not have a great amount of income. And I bought one. Within a couple weeks, I bought one because of that experience with me interacting with it. And I stayed on Sprint for about a year using the other phone, and I used this as an iPod Touch. It blew me away that much that I purchased it simply knowing that I'd be using it as an iPod Touch. I'd be using it as the iPod Touch, which was not released yet, so I had no idea that product was ever going to be released. I thought they would save this technology for the phone to sell more of those. So within a couple of months, I started jailbreaking and really started seeing the potential of the device. So how this all relates to the iPad is, I'm already sold on the iPad. I already know it's going to be a great device for what I know it can do already. From the videos, it has me sold. But I still haven't interacted with it. I still haven't held the device. I still don't know what the essence of the iPad is. I just know I want it. And I just know that I'm going to have it because I've already pre-ordered it, and it's going to be a part of my life. It'll be the device I just take everywhere with me. It'll be my laptop replacement. And I didn't have that impression with the iPhone until I held it. So this is what I'm getting at. I think the iPad's going to be wildly successful because right now we're just getting feedback from people that have held it. We haven't gotten feedback from other people, just civilians, that have gotten to the Apple Store and held the device. I think Apple will just start selling gobs of these once people actually start getting in the stores and interacting with the device. I think people don't realize the magic as Steve Jobs called it, behind the iPad. There is going to be some true magic. The first time when I got my hands on the iPhone, I had at the back of my mind, what if we had a larger screen device that uses the same technology? I always thought, even from the first iPhones, that, oh my gosh, this would be incredible if you simply blew up the screen size. You can do so much more with it. You could do amazing things that no one's ever thought of. And I had that thought back in 2007, and here we are now at 2010, and Apple's finally announced and is finally releasing next Saturday an iPad, a blown-up version of the iPhone, which, as I thought back many years ago, you're going to be able to do so much more with it simply because of the screen size, and now we know the speed. So those two components are going to make this device incredible, and once people start getting their hands on it, it's all over. I think people will just start buying them, and it's simply going to be from the interaction with the device that they buy them. It's not going to be from any rational reason or any reason like that. It'll be from a reason of, wow, this is incredible. This is something I must have. It's going to just simply be amazing once people start getting their hands on it. I think it'll be even more so than the iPhone. I remember that first time when I held an iPhone. I remember what it was to zoom in on a web page in Safari for the first time. I remember what it was to do all those things on the iPhone. I remember opening up Google Maps and being blown away on the first generation iPhone. I remember that. And I can imagine once next Saturday hits and I start getting my hands on the iPad, I'll remember that day for the rest of my life, where I remember what it was like for the first time to interact with Google Maps. That actually is fast. It's real time. It instantly loads. It's not going to be slow like the iPhone. You'll be able to look at a large amount of data with the screen size. I think everyone's going to remember that first experience with their iPad, and it's going to blow them away. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to outsell laptops within a few years. It's going to be the device that everyone has as their main computing device. Desktop operating systems will still exist for when you need to do more advanced stuff. But for 95%, 90%, however high it is for you, it'll replace what you do with your laptop, and it will do it in a fashion that will make it that much more enjoyable, that you'll want to do it there. You won't want to be sitting at a desk or sitting with a laptop in your lap. You'd rather be holding just a simple piece of glass in your hands that you can interact with the technology, you can interact with the information. Get the operating system out of the way and just simply interact with the information that you need. I think it's going to be incredible, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback starting next Saturday once you guys get your iPads. And also send in your feedback. Do you remember what it was that first time you held the iPhone? That first time you started interacting with your iPhone? Do you remember that experience? Do you remember what it was like? And what do you think it'll be like when you start interacting with the iPad for the very first time? What do you think it'll be like? So please send your feedback. I'd love to hear if you guys remember what it was like for you when you first started holding the iPhone. And then starting next Saturday, I'd love if you guys could send in your voice messages to tell me what your first experiences are like with the iPad. What are your impressions? What is it that makes this device different for you? Is it as magical as you thought it would be? Is it what you thought it would be? Are you people that are pre-ordering it? Is it what you thought it would be? Is it all it was that you imagined? Or is it more? So please send that feedback to 209-542-iPad. That's 209-542-4723. Start sending in that voicemail. Start sending that in. And I'd love for this Friday show to have a real opportunity to play back your guys' feedback, your guys' thoughts on the device, and just simply the Friday show, this show, to simply be your guys' feedback. I'll keep doing weekly thoughts if there's not enough feedback coming back, but I'd love if this Friday show could be your feedback, an opportunity for you guys to voice your opinions and thoughts on the iPad, what possibilities you see with it. And the first set of feedback I'd love to have back is, what are your first impressions with the device? What are your first impressions with the iPad? What were your first impressions with the iPhone? And I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the iPhone when it came out. What were your initial thoughts? Did you initially think you were going to get one? Did you initially think that this would change the world, that it would change what you do as far as computing on the road? And compare that to the iPad. Do you think that it'll have a similar experience with that? So that's my weekly thought on just what it was like back in 2007 and how much more impactful it will be now in 2010 with the technology so much further advanced. I think it's been incredible, and I'm excited. I can't wait till April hits. I can't wait till my iPad arrives sometime in April when they ship out the 3G model. And I can't wait till get in the store on April 3rd and actually start playing with the device and interviewing people that have the device. And I'm excited, and this is the iPad Possibilities Podcast. And as always, just send your feedback to iPadPossibilities@gmail.com into that voicemail box. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do that by purchasing the iPad Possibilities Podcast app, found in the App Store for $2.99. And with that app, you get the shows 24 hours in advance. So you get the shows on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday instead of Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So that is all I have for you today. Please join us Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go to thepossibilitiesnetwork.com to find out more information about that live show. And we will speak again on Sunday night. Until then, this is Tim with the iPad Possibilities Podcast.